Hi, Nina. How are you? Hey. Hey, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Getting ready for your bridal shower.
Yeah.
Gosh, I know actually you're probably not doing anything, which is
I'm
wait.
not I'm not really doing anything, which is kind of nice. But my sister tells me like all the details.
Yeah, did you have a say in anything or is it kind of a surprise?
No, I had to say in a lot.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
she would like report back to me after they would like have meetings and stuff. And then she would just tell me things and like get my okay.
Okay. Well,
But there's like some surprises.
yeah, like everyone's kind of different. It depends on the bride of who wants to be involved and how much. So that's
Yeah.
good though. Awesome. Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah,
So
it's
how are
really
you
exciting.
feeling this week after those few days of not feeling amazing?
Today is better. The past like 3 days I just felt so like bloated and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I do think part of it is that like I'm getting my period, which I
When,
guess I didn't like realize
okay. When is it expected in the next few days?
like today or tomorrow.
Okay, so that definitely will be playing a role. Our
Yeah.
inflammation in the gut is raised, especially, if you have the history of endometriosis, it tends to be a little heightened during your period too, that inflammation. So that combined with SIBO, especially if it's not fully cleared out yet, you have a higher level just at baseline of
Hmm.
inflammation in the gut going into your period. So I think that's definitely played a role, but I feel like, I mean, your two reintroductions, like the first two, and even like the beginning of the third one were pretty good, right? Because you felt pretty good during
Yeah.
the day.
I really didn't feel like any issue at all with the yogurt in the beginning. I
Yeah.
felt like pretty fine.
Yeah, which is an awesome
So
sign.
that, yeah, that wasn't bad.
Yeah. So it's
I
probably
think
just
maybe I just like had too many things I shouldn't Saturday night. And then like, which I didn't think they were like terrible. Like I ordered like a white fish for dinner. Like I
okay.
tried to be okay, but I guess like the bread and I did have wine and the artichoke thing. I
Yeah,
mean, it wasn't a lot because like they don't give you very much in the way of
yes,
sides.
that's true.
But
I
and then I guess just like
probably
on top of like having had the yogurt, I was like, oh, I'm in the clear. I can have anything else now.
yeah.
Um,
It was like the highest portion of yogurt, and
yeah,
oak is like very high FODMAP, similar to
yeah,
garlic and onion, and maybe just the wheat on top of it was just kind of the icing on top with
yeah. And then just like and then all like combined with like the time of the month, like it just because it like wouldn't usually be like 3 days to recover from something like
yeah,
bad. Usually it's like all right, the next day whatever, but by like 2 days later, I'd be fine or
yeah,
feeling much better. So I think it
yeah.
was just like everything together.
Yeah, yeah. So like you said, we can regroup, wait till actually you said if you don't get your period tomorrow, then you can do the one reintroduction, right?
Yeah.
I would
But
advise
if I do start tomorrow, should I wait then? Just
I
because
would
it'd be like
wait.
too much
Yeah.
on top.
Just because you're probably going to be a little bloated and you're not going to have a
Yeah.
good baseline. So yeah, I would
But like
wait.
how long would you wait? How long
Um,
do you think?
just like maybe like 3 days, 2 or 3
Okay.
days, and then you could do maybe one before your bridal shower. Get one
Okay.
in, so you can at least start one of them,
We'll
and you
just like
can.
test it. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
like start and then come back to it. It doesn't have to be 3 days in a row necessarily.
No, no, because then
Okay.
sometimes it gets really hard to actually get them all in together when
Yeah, it
you're
really does.
doing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you
Yeah,
can
the
definitely,
scheduling is kind of harder than I thought.
yeah, yeah. And I want you to be able to get a lot of them in.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Hi, Michelle.
Hi guys.
Hi, nice to officially meet you. Welcome.
Yes. Thanks so much.
You look so much like Jen. It's so crazy. Oh my gosh. You guys, you're both so pretty, but
Thank
welcome.
you.
This
Thank
is
you.
Nina. She's one of the other guys
Hi.
Hi,
program.
Nina.
So how you doing this week?
Good. Busy with work, going into the office. I feel like it's always throwing a wrench into like a routine. So just trying to take all the stuff that you've been sending me from last week and trying to make sure I'm like prepared for the week when I'm in the office because my office has like a lot of snacks. There's always like things going on. So just trying to navigate um that stuff and just making sure I'm like super prepared for any.
Yeah, yeah. And you could also
Yeah.
ease into it, too, is a lot of info
Mhm.
we have gone over, right? So I know you say you commute to work 2 to 3 days a week, right?
Yep.
Not every day. So you can have those other days at home to really kind of get familiar with everything
Mm-hmm.
and go grocery shopping, right? And like I said, I think you're gonna do some meal prepping, like you said,
Yep.
for going into work, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know that you don't have to resort to the foods and stuff at work.
Yes.
Okay.
And also like coming home from work, like by the time I get home, it's like 6. So not having to like make something from scratch and just having something already made is just easier than grabbing something that's not as healthy,
Okay.
essentially.
Yeah. And did you check out the plan that I made? That was just that extra PDF of just meal ideas, snack.
Hmm.
Okay.
I did. Yes.
How do you feel like it's compared to what you normally would eat? Like, is it very different, or do you feel like it'll be easy adjustment with some things, or just maybe some simple swaps with the FODMAPs?
Yeah, no, a lot of good stuff on there. I'm so used to like eating the same stuff over and over again. So it's
Mhm.
nice to incorporate a lot of different variety into my diet, which I think will be
Yeah,
helpful.
which is so important for
Um,
gut health, as I'm sure
yeah.
now you realize. And that's a
Hmm.
big part of a program is really focusing on diversity, because the more diverse our diet is, the more diverse our microbes are, which is
Yep.
the best for our inflammation, our gut health, our skin health, our weight. So I love that you're,
Hmm.
just starting to diversify a little bit and try
Yes.
different things. Yeah, that's awesome.
Hmm.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for filling out that little barriers chart too. That really is good for you and for me just to see kind of like what's going on in your life and what's going to make it harder, easier for you in the program. I think the morning routine is awesome.
Hmm.
And I know you said you walk the dog and you
Hmm.
do, some kind of thing for yourself. And what you do some meditation some days of the week?
Yeah, depending how like crazy time is, I try to do it in the mornings when I'm not commuting for work. I obviously have more time to do that stuff, but if I
Mhm.
am commuting to work, if I get up extra early, I can kind of factor those additional meditations in or a little bit more self-care versus like a really quick, speedy one that sometimes I have to do.
Definitely. And we'll definitely have another session too, where on a live call, we talk all about adrenal health and the HPA
Hmm.
axis, but the adrenals are so important for our gut health and our overall gut healing and helping our body just feel safe and basically telling it that, okay, it's okay to get into a healing mode.
Hmm.
We don't want to be in fight or flight mode all the time. And it's not plausible to think that we're never going to be in fight or flight mode in this, society. There's stressful things
Hmm.
all the time, but it's how can we go in and out of it more easily as opposed to always staying in that stressful fight or flight
Right.
mode, right? So that morning routine helps to kind of ease
Hmm.
our adrenal glands into the day, not spike our cortisol like as soon as we're waking up and thinking of work and checking emails, right?
Yep,
So kind of easing into
exactly.
the day and helping with that. So that plays a role in the
Hmm.
rate at which our gut heals and the gut lining, the immune system around the gut. So I think that's awesome.
Great.
I actually want to show you guys. I don't know if either of you have tried this book, but it's the 5 minute journal. And
I've
it's
heard of it.
yeah, it's really cool. And
I need to do it.
I think I sent it to you, Nina, as a link.
Yeah, I need to get one.
Yeah, it's just great because then you don't have to like really think about it. If you're, you want to do a little gratitude practice in the morning, it really just asks you a few questions. It says like, I am grateful for it, it does a little quote, it has a little quote too, which is nice. And then you list 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things that would make today great, and then daily affirmations like
Mm.
I am. And then you all actually has like a nighttime reflection too, which is nice. So you can kind of set yourself for a nice evening coming out of the day. You can kind of use it as bookends with,
Hmm.
productivity and, just go, go, go all day. And then you can come back to that at night just to kind of unwind. So that I like that just for another, idea for morning and evening routine. Um, I'm just looking at your chart, Michelle, too, because I love that.
Okay.
I know you said eating out too is a challenge. And Nina, this is definitely something we've all
Yeah.
through in the program, but I don't want you to feel like you cannot eat out because I want you to still, enjoy things with your friends, families. I don't want this to make you feel like you need to sit home for the entire program because that will actually delay healing. If you're too stressed about the diet, if
Mhm.
you're, overwhelmed and you're thinking, I can't do anything, I can't go anywhere, that to me is like backfiring. I don't want any of you guys to feel like that. So, it does, even when you're out, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we can omit the huge triggers, right, Nina? Like you
Mhm.
can
Hmm.
really look to see, okay, what has the least garlic and onion, which is maybe gluten-free, which has gluten-free noodles if available, not getting fried foods that helps to reduce the wheat content, and just for IBS, just any discomfort that will also be a trigger. what has like a cream sauce that you can avoid, what
Right.
has mushrooms and cauliflower, asparagus, lots of what else? Garlic, obviously garlic and onion are like two big triggers. And what else? Just thinking, oh, like a salad, like ordering out a salad, like cashews or dried fruit or apples or a lot of avocado. So these are just some things that like, okay, when you're starting to learn about this diet, okay, if I minimize those big triggers, I can still go out and find something on the menu that I can modify, even like tacos, going for more corn tortilla versus wheat. Sushi tends to be pretty easy because you can do like rice and fish and a little bit of avocado, not having too much of it in those rolls. Soy sauce and a little bit of that is totally fine. Like seaweed salad is good. A lot of those like rice noodle dishes are pretty good. So it helps when you kind of have some of those things, because in your mind, when when your friends want to go out, your family wants to go out, you can always post a menu in the Facebook group and I can review it for you, or you can post it in Healthy, like as a note in your journal, and I could review it for you like for later in the week and just give you some ideas of things to try to help to mitigate the inflammation, just reduce your bloating and symptoms. Okay.
Yeah, I think it will be easier just like being mindful of like what you can and can't eat, just like allows you to navigate that situation a little bit better. I feel like if I started this like before meeting with you, I'd be like a little stressed, like, oh, what can I can't eat? So like having those guidelines, it's like easier for me to like kind of navigate what I can and can't eat. Like,
Yeah, and that's why I do always recommend it to do it with a practitioner, because it can be tedious, and then you may not even figure out what made you bloated, and it takes the two of
right.
us to really kind of troubleshoot. Okay, was it that? Was it this when you had this out, or maybe it was this from the morning at breakfast on top and stacked with the dinner, later in the night, because FODMAPs can stack for the whole day. So like one thing that you have in the morning can then and then paired with something at dinner can then create bloating, whereas one or the other might not have triggered the bloating. So it kind of takes a little troubleshooting sometimes, and that's going to happen, and it's not going to be perfect. So I don't want you to beat yourself up if you find that you do have symptoms and you're like, I failed. And that's not, that's nowhere near the truth, because we'll just hop right back on it and, move forward, because it's about symptom management really for FODMAPs while we treat the root cause of what's going on. So the FODMAPs help to control and limit that fuel for bacteria. It will help basically then produce less gas, right? Whether there's a few different gases with SIBO, and I think you watched the SIBO video lesson, right? Yeah. So you saw there's methane, hydrogen sulfide. So whichever gases they're producing, they're fed by those FODMAPs. So us limiting the FODMAPs really just helps us calm everything down while we treat it and, address what's really, going on. And some people get stuck on low FODMAP forever. One of my other clients is like, I love low FODMAP, like I'm afraid to come off of it,
That's how I feel.
Yeah, because you do feel better on it, but it's really important to challenge those FODMAPs, because you don't get into that cycle where then you have more food fears and you're stuck on it because you feel good, but then you end up with limited and lower microbiome diversity, because then you're having less and less foods in your diet, right? So we want to make sure that it's just temporary and that we heal the gut at the same time, so that when we reintroduce, you're feeling so much better. So yeah. And I know you said you were kind of feeling a few like minor benefits already too, which is good, right? And which kind of helps you move forward and gives you positive reinforcement.
Totally. The first like few days, obviously some adjustment, but I feel like after just from now until last week, it's definitely much in a better groove and being more mindful, and like making my plate has been 10 times easier.
Awesome.
And just knowing the portion size too has been helpful.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. And you said the bloating right after the meal is definitely a little bit better.
Yes. Yeah, definitely in the morning it's been fine. And even after like a lunch when I have like a bigger meal, I used to like feel like superly bloated, but now like there's still it fluctuates a little bit, but I don't feel to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I feel like in pain. So
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so glad. Okay. So that will only continue to get better. So that's really exciting. Awesome. Great. And Lena, any goals you've been updating or working on, like adrenal health, stress? And I know you've been going through everything with like planning your wedding, so you're juggling that. How has that been with, trying to do these FODMAP reintroductions with stress? And are you overwhelmed? Are you okay?
The FODMAP reintroductions are hard, especially because like
You want
there's
to,
so many things happening, like like Easter, and then like I have my bridal shower and then the bachelorette. So
yeah.
it's like I don't want to like go to my bridal shower and not eat the food, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
know them going
Don't
to
want that.
like, but I know them going to be like set back then from that. And the same thing, like I'm going to try and be careful on my bachelorette trip, but like I don't want to sit there and like not eat anything. So I guess I was hoping that when I joined the program, I would like lose weight and feel good. And I guess I didn't realize I had to like cut out food and be reintroducing it. And so like it's been a little difficult to like get things reintroduced because I
Yeah.
keep
You
ending
have
up with
like that.
something that like sets me back. And
Yeah.
then you have to take like a day or two to recover. Then I won't put the foods back in.
Yeah. And don't forget too,
Um,
it can go past like, doesn't have to fully end at like your
yeah, like
4 month
program end
mark.
date.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like you can either continue with me or you can do the reintroductions on your own. So I don't want you to put that deadline on yourself because I want you to enjoy this time of getting married too,
yeah,
because that is just like the one amazing time in your life, So try not to put too much stress with the reintroductions on it. I want you to enjoy those days, like your shower and your bachelorette. And in between, we can find those good times to do the reintroductions. And then you could always do it past it if you need to,
yeah.
So try not to stress too much about it because we know your bloating has gotten so much better, right? Like a lot
Yeah,
of your,
no, it definitely has. I mean, I was hoping to have like lost weight also, but
yeah, I know.
I guess that's not going to happen. So
We
maybe I was too
June,
ambitious.
I think you can
Maybe I
still
was too
do before
hopeful.
June, definitely.
Yeah.
It's actually going to bring up because I know we were talking about this and I watched a webinar about a new like a keystone species called Akkermansia, which you guys have seen on your balanced meal video right towards the end. So there's actually a breakthrough kind of new probiotic that they're actually using Akkermansia in a capsule, which hasn't really been done before. And it's amazing for one, the gut lining. So it helps it helps to produce more mucin of the gut lining. So that is like that really good barrier that we want at the gut lining to keep the immune system healthy, keep healthy, good probiotics surrounding the gut lining to basically ward off pathogens, improve your metabolic health, improve the integrity of the gut lining. So it's not coming out, it's not spacing apart so that it helps protect that mucus layer. So it kind of eats it. And then kind of what they were talking about, the kind of analogy was that it's almost like pruning. So it'll eat the mucin so that it grows back better in a way. So basically, that's really, really good for weight and weight loss goals, weight management, glucose control. There's a lot of association and data between higher acromantia in the gut and lower weight status. And they're finding people that have obesity have low levels of acromantia. So I was actually going to send it to you because and I've seen, I don't know if you guys have seen it on Instagram. I probably get more targeted ads for gut health and everything, but like Halle Berry was promoting this. It's by Pendulum. So I thought you'd be interested, Nina, because it's
That is
like
interesting.
you're
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in that.
yeah, because I don't think you're
That's
taking
what's in like
anymore.
pomegranates, right?
What?
Is that like what's in a pomegranate and other
Yeah,
like
so
that? Yeah.
it's basically eating those polyphenol, those high red foods. So like red juice powder, even by Organifi, I really like because it's all red focus that
Hmm.
promotes those akkermansia. So anything red will increase those akkermansia. So then if you haven't really been able to take it as a supplement until
Yeah.
recently, which is nice. So I thought you might be interested in that.
Yeah, I
So
would definitely be
share
interested.
with you.
I'll try anything.
Okay. All right. I know because you've been working out so diligently and you're eating great, you're eating so balanced. And I think the SIBO is like just really been holding it back from
Yeah.
fully healing that metabolism. But I know you said the colostrum, which is really good for the gut
Yeah, I
lining.
started that
Yeah, so
this week.
that's going to really help as well. So I'm hopeful for you for your
Is there
performance.
like any way to really know how I'm doing with the SIBO other than I guess just the
Retaking
symptoms,
a
or
breath
I'd have to
test.
retake the
You
test?
could yeah, a lot of people do retake a breath test.
Yeah.
So Nina's
It's
doctor
just so
actually did agree
expensive.
to exactly. Yeah. So some people just go by symptoms. Even the best like SIBO doctors in the world will say it's a personal choice. You can,
Yeah.
you feel better. Or if you want a like major peace of mind, you could take the test again, you know, it really depends on the
Because
person.
like how you know then when to stop with like the
Just by how
herbal,
you
the
feel,
microbials.
by
Yeah.
how you feel. And you don't want to take it over like, you know, 3 or 4 or 5 months, then
Mhm.
it could backfire and just cause lower bacteria than after that.
That's too much.
Yeah. So then they would say basically stop, you know, see how you feel for a little bit. And then you could always reapproach later down the line if, like, let's say it's stubborn. But I haven't really had that problem, honestly. Like, I've only had maybe a handful of clients come back who then had to go on so many antibiotics and they had like so many UTIs. And that's the only time I've seen anyone's gut like fully re rebound in a negative way, I would say. Otherwise, all of my like SIBO cases have been successful. Yeah. Yeah, I'll send you the acromantia one because I
Yeah,
find
thank
that would
you.
be really good. And I think Erica would be interested in that too.
So
Uh,
it's a probiotic, but I could take a probiotic again.
yeah. Yep. So
Okay.
it's a different type of probiotic. It's not
Okay.
lactobacilli or bifidobacterium.
Okay.
So it's Akkermansia itself and one other strain. I have to look back at what it exactly is. I forget, but it's one other strain that pairs really well with Akkermansia. That's not lactobacilli. That is just really great for weight loss and glucose control. So which they go hand in hand, right? So we have better glucose control. We have better weight loss management. So yeah, I'll send that to you.
I just saw something yesterday on Instagram about like I kind of knew this, but I saw it again about like cinnamon, how it's helpful for like blood
Oh
sugar
yes,
control. So I
totally.
just started putting it in my coffee. I mean, I don't know how much you actually need for it to see a benefit. So I don't know if like sprinkling it in the coffee really does
Oh, it
anything,
does.
but
Sprinkling it in it's better than not having any
it's
cinnamon.
better than not doing it at
So
all.
yeah, so that is good for glucose control. It's similar in, you know, some studies to the ACV, the apple cider
Hmm.
vinegar. And Michelle, I know I think you're going to start the bitters too, which is really great for stimulating the upper stomach digestion, which is really good for SIBO. And we want all those digestive checkpoints to be really strong and healthy for SIBO. So that really helps with that. Stimulate your stomach acid, stimulates the bile flow, stimulates the pancreatic enzymes, which we want for SIBO, and just helping to heal everything from the top down.
I forgot to
Stimulate
put it in
everything.
the journal, but I did the ACV before I went to dinner on Friday. So I feel like maybe that helped me also.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. That really primes your stomach for that upper stomach digestion. So that's great. Really just gets your stomach acid ready to go and all those enzymes. So that's great. Yeah. And it's good for blood sugar. It's good for
Hmm.
satiety. So that's great. Yeah. It just helps you respond better to the meal, your glucose level and your insulin. So that's awesome. Sorry, would you say, Michelle?
Oh, no, I was just saying stimulate everything.
Exactly. Stimulate all the good juices, I'll say.
Yes.
Awesome. Um, and anyone have any other like major questions? I'm gonna go talk about my fiber education in a few minutes, but you guys have anything else to add? Any questions about the material so far, Michelle, as you're going through things?
No, I mean, it's definitely a lot of info, a lot of great
Yeah,
info. Like, I feel like I find myself like rereading a page a few times just to kind of like really digest the information. So I'm going to continue to like go back to a few of the sessions as I'm going through this. So I probably will have follow-up questions as the weeks
definitely.
go on. But as of right
Yeah.
now, I feel like it's a good starting point. I'm happy that it's like about my hormone levels. I feel like I've always just assumed like my acne was coming from hormone levels. So it's nice to like have clarity on that. After you seeing my hormone levels and things like that, and kind of reverting that it's probably going to be SIBO. So, you know, just having that peace of mind off the first week of doing this has been like super, super great.
I'm glad. And yeah, like sometimes process by elimination really does
Yeah.
help, you know, just
Mhm.
knowing, okay, well, this is what I need to focus on. Those hormones looked good. Your TSH looked good for your thyroid. So it's kind of like, okay, what do I need to hone in on and not being
Yeah.
all over the place with not knowing where to start. So I'm
Yeah.
really glad that's just been peace of mind
Mhm.
for you. Yeah.
Totally.
That's great. Awesome. Yeah, great. And I'll have you watch the videos like the gut permeability and the liver ones a little bit later because we'll kind of introduce those topics gradually and you know they'll make more sense to where you're at different points in time. And it's just a lot in the beginning to watch like all the videos. So I'd rather you just
Mhm.
do it in piecemeal and in your roadmap, I'll let you know which video to watch around when.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And Nina, did you get to watch the liver one yet?
Yes, I did watch the liver one.
Okay. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Um, no questions, but it's like again, I see how it all like fits together. So
Okay, I'm glad. Okay.
it's kind of like which one came first? Like, is the SIBO causing a sluggish liver, or is the sluggish liver and like gallbladder causing SIBO, or
That's
both?
right.
Or is it both? I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Like, which
Yeah,
one do you
I think the liver then I think it gets overloaded with
think?
what's going on in the gut, especially for like girls our age, you know,
Yeah.
nobody's starting off with like cirrhosis or anything bad going on with the liver unless somebody's like a major alcoholic at our age, you know. So typically, or it has non-alcoholic fatty liver when they have really bad diabetes or high glucose levels, that can really impact your liver. So it's mostly coming, I think, from the gut and affecting, overloading
Mhm.
the liver a little bit. Nobody has had, major crazy AST or ALT liver enzymes where you're having major liver damage. We just want to make sure, especially if someone's having constipation, not going to the bathroom, not like have a history of not going to the bathroom every single day, that we're supporting the liver as it's trying to basically heal SIBO, and the liver gets overloaded too, with constipation. So it's like, how can we help both at the same time while addressing the root cause of going on in the gut? And then also having like liver supporting foods in our diet, like those bitter greens and
Mhm.
watercress and beets and, dandelion root, things like that, that can really help the liver. And those
I
castor.
do hate that a lot of them are high FODMAP though.
Which ones are higher that you saw?
I thought there was a
Like the
couple like
artichoke.
Brussels sprouts,
Yeah.
artichokes, cauliflower.
Mhm. Yeah. So you can definitely, very soon you'll be able to eat those.
Yeah,
Eat
we can
those
get
again.
back to that.
Yeah. Definitely. And Michelle, you might even be interested in this, but Nina was doing, and some of the other girls, like a castor oil pack, which you don't have to do it now, but maybe in like in a few weeks or something. But you kind of put a pack with castor oil on the outside of your body, like over your
Mhm.
liver. And there's actual medical research to show that it is very good for the liver, constipation, the gut health,
Mm,
inflammation. And you just kind of let it chill there for about an hour. You could wash it off after.
interesting.
You just kind of, when you're like watching TV at night or reading, and it really does show that it helps the liver with inflammation in
Okay.
the gut, especially with SIBO, sorry, slow bug, and
That's
history
good.
of constipation and not going to the bathroom every single day. So
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, good to know.
I'll just share a little bit more about it
Mhm.
with you in your roadmap, but it's interesting. Yeah. All right, cool. I don't think I guess Brittany's not coming on, but um I will share with you guys my screen, and I want to show you a little bit more about fiber, insoluble fiber, soluble fiber, resistant starches, and the benefits that we get from fiber, just in a little bit more detail of what they produce, the metabolites they produce, some hormones that they produce, and what it shuts off and turns on hormone wise. So just, a little bit deeper on fiber. I know you guys know fiber is important. So just going a little deeper. Okay. Nope, wrong thing.
Actually, Sam, I meant to ask you earlier. So, do you know what overnight mush are? They're like it's a brand called Mush.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on those?
I think for FODMAPs wise, they do have dates. So let me just double check. Let me check on Spoonful, but I'm pretty sure they're higher FODMAP because of the date content. Let me just, I'm looking on, yeah, that Spoonful app. So one sec. Mush oats. Yeah, because if they have a lot of dates that are high FODMAP, they can be bloat promoting. So not for now, but in the
Mhm.
future, I would say they're pretty good if you get the higher protein one.
Okay.
You add like a little bit more protein, whether it's like a little almonds or hemp seeds or chia, just because they're like slightly lower
Got
protein.
it.
Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think if
Makes
there's
sense.
other overnight oats
Yeah,
that
I
you
can also just make my own. I was just curious because there's a few in my fridge right now.
okay.
But I can definitely make my own. I know you sent me like a recipe for one of them too.
Yeah. And also like finish them, I wouldn't say to waste the food,
I'll
finish
just make my
them,
boyfriend eat them. It's okay.
or you can make your boyfriend eat them. Yes. Yeah. I'm just even looking at any other brand that has it, like Brekkie. That's moderate FODMAPs. I don't know if have you guys tried those? Brekkie, the
I
brand?
don't think so.
I don't think I have either, but it says it's moderate, which is definitely better.
I've usually just made them, even though those seem a lot easier and more convenient.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if you just like lay out a few jars in the beginning of the week, dump like half a cup of oats each one, do a
Mhm.
little, almond milk, um, or like lactose-free milk even, and little fruit. You could do frozen fruit, you could do some frozen strawberries, frozen blueberries. I feel like that kind of settles in kind of
Mhm.
nicely. Hemp seeds, a little chia or a little ground flax. Um, and a little vanilla extract. That's pretty good. A little pure maple syrup or stevia, and that's just really good.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and I have some like definitely other low FODMAP breakfast. I have a whole PDF with that. There's some like low FODMAP yogurt. Definitely, I
Mhm.
put some brand names in your plan, so check that out too. Do
Okay.
you like what? I feel like you like some different, like you like sourdough and eggs too, which is good. Seems like you
Yep.
felt good with that.
Yeah,
Well,
I
don't
could eat
open it
that
just
like
yet. We're not going to brush our teeth right now.
I could eat that for every breakfast, honestly. So it filled
Okay,
me up and like I always feel great after eating it too. It was just
awesome.
something I was just curious, just to switch it up.
Yes.
Good too.
Yeah, yeah, no, I hear you. If I find some other, I'll look some up. If I find
All
some other
right. So you're going to go brush your
breakfast like
teeth.
that, I'll let you know.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna watch my.
Hi, Britt.
We should do it after. Oh, sorry. Am I not on mute anymore? I apologize, guys.
That's
It's just been a
okay.
day.
That's all right. We're starting our chat on fiber, insoluble, soluble, resistant starches, and just a little bit deeper on fiber benefits for gut health. Okay.
Perfect. I will be listening in. I'm not going to go on video if that's okay, just
Okay,
because
no problem.
I
Good
100% thought it was a Tuesday.
It's okay. I'm glad you're here. So we know fiber is a carb structure, right? So all plants contain fiber like fruits, veggies, grains, nuts, seeds, and beans. We aren't able to digest fiber. We need our microbes to digest our fiber for us and provide benefits for us. So it creates bulk in our stool, and we'll talk about which ones are good for when you need more bulk, when you need less bulk. It helps absorb toxins and cholesterol from the diet. It kind of actually soluble fiber will bind to cholesterol in our diet and help it excrete. It kind of like a broom for our GI tract, right? So it kind of sweeps the sides of our colon, which is great for toxin exposure from our food, pesticide residues. So it really just helps to kind of give it a nice cleaning. The more fiber that we eat, when we don't have a lot of a high fiber diet, food tends to go slower in our GI tract, right? We're not getting that like cleaning, and we're not promoting those good bacterial growth when we don't have as much fiber. So they act as prebiotics, so food for good gut bacteria to thrive and promote healthy digestion, good immunity, which is mostly in the gut. 70% of our immune system lies in the gut, helps promote a healthy weight, and reduces inflammation. So this is just a breakdown of carbohydrates, and we know there's monosaccharides, which are the smallest building block. Disaccharides is when there's two building blocks of monosaccharides, which make up starches. Then we have fibers, which are non-starch polysaccharides. We have multiple, complex carbs, could be called oligosaccharides. And then we have resistant starches, which our gut is just that. It's just resistant to breaking down, where we need our microbes to do it for us. And our cells and our gut have evolved. As we know, like if you think about it, our mitochondria came from bacteria, where our cells evolved to then house a mitochondrial bacteria. It used to be a bacteria, and our cells evolved to create energy by utilizing that bacteria to become in our cells, to integrate into our cells over time. And same with bacteria in our gut. We have really evolved to house all this bacteria so we can unlock the benefits of fiber. So it encourages our bacteria to produce what are called short chain fatty acids, which basically provide an array of health benefits. They're good for our fullness and satiety and blood sugar. They upregulate genes that are anti-cancer, anti-chronic disease, lower risk of colon cancer. Fiber binds to carcinogens in foods, like I said before, helps expel it through our stool and reduce our transit time. So we have higher motility rates, which is better for gut health and inflammation. Not, you know, we obviously don't want it to go fly through when we have loose stools, but the more, you know, bulk we have to our diet, the more bulk in our stool and the quicker transit time we will have. It helps improve metabolic fat deposition. So it changes the way our body stores fat when we have better fiber in our adipocytes or fat cells due to an increase in short chain fatty acids. So that promotes more weight loss when we have higher fiber. And most people don't reach the recommended RDA, which is the recommended daily amount of 25 for women in grams and 38 for men. And I'll kind of show you what specific types of fiber kind of add up to, so you can get a sense of where those grams come from. We know that it's also really good for oral health. So that we don't talk a lot about our oral microbiome, but our oral microbiome does influence our gut microbiome. And research has actually shown that an increase in fiber is great for our microbiome in our mouth, which is great for our teeth health, right? And our oral health. It's great for our mental health because of those short chain fatty acids that interact with the gut-brain axis and improve those neurotransmitters going to the gut. It improves our serotonin levels, that a lot of our serotonin level is actually made in the gut, but that's our happy hormone. It makes us feel good, reduces anxiety, reduces depression, reduces the risk of type 2 diabetes. So it slows down our glucose absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. So that reduces our insulin. So it promotes insulin sensitivity. And like we said, reduces risk of certain cancers. These are some examples of foods and the fibers that they contain. So just for example, brown rice, 1 cup has about 3.5 grams of fiber. Some low FODMAP fruits like blueberries, kiwi, oranges, papayas have anywhere from 2 to 8 grams of fiber, depending on the vegetable or fruit. And the low FODMAP veggies here, about 1/2 cup, about 2 to 5 grams of fiber, depending on the veggie. Low FODMAP nuts, you're getting pretty good bang for your buck, 2 tablespoons, about 1 to 1.5. Oatmeal, 1/2 cup, about 2 grams. So quinoa, you're getting a little bit more. It's kind of the same, like 1/2 cup per one's 1/2 cup, one's cup, about 2.5 grams per 1/2 cup of quinoa. And sweet potato has a pretty good amount, 4 grams per 1/2 cup. So just some ideas for getting to that RDA of at least 25 grams of fiber. That's kind of even the low point that we want. We really do want even more than that. And if you're going by that rule of thumb of the balanced plate, you're really definitely going to be getting this. So I don't want you guys to go crazy with numbers or anything. Just want to give you an idea of the grams, approximate grams. And this will show you here too. These are like the top 10 food highest in fiber, just for reference. So you get kind of, I like to go by the grams here. So this 19 grams per cup, which is, definitely a lot. In these navy beans, which are unfortunately high FODMAP because they do have a lot of that fermentable carbohydrate. So lower FODMAPs would be chia seeds, about 10 grams per 2 tablespoons, broccoli, about 5 grams per 1 cup, oranges, about 4 grams per cup, sweet potatoes, 4 grams per cup. And collard greens, also low FODMAP, same with acorn squash. So just some ideas of some of the highest foods in fiber per gram per cup, and getting the most bang for your buck. And these are those short chain fatty acids I was talking about before, those beneficial metabolites of when we feed our gut fiber, we get this production of short chain fatty acids that then provide these benefits for us. So they unlock the benefits of plants we consume and reward us with short chain fatty acids. So butyrate, acetate, and propionate are the major short chain fatty acids. And if anybody has done a stool test, I don't think you guys have, but I have done stool tests with other clients in the past where it will show us then your beneficial metabolites like butyrate, acetate, and propionate and their levels, which does help us, gear our plan a little bit. So it's totally optional, but just to know that you can there is a way now to measure your levels of short chain fatty acids in the gut. And so we know more plant foods and variety of plants equals more short chain fatty acids production, supports our gut immunity. It's great for our inflammation and metabolic health. And they also fuel our intestinal lining. So these short chain fatty acids are kind of like food for our other bacteria in the gut. So it helps to, it's kind of like a ripple effect. It feeds other bacteria, and it feeds the intestinal lining. It acts as energy for the colon cells to keep that gut lining strong and that mucosal lining strong and intact. I know we talked a little bit about that mucosal lining before that Akkermansia feeds. So these are metabolites that then feed that lining as well. These are the three short chain fatty acids and kind of their different roles. So acetate can help regulate pH of the gut, helps control appetite, nourishes butyrate producing bacteria. So like we said before, they feed other bacteria and help keep other probiotics in high quantity. They protect against pathogens. So the more fiber and beneficial bacteria create, the less pathogens can take hold, right? With the more good bacteria we have, the less pathogens can really sneak in there and take hold and, kill out the other guys when you have a good, strong amount of good bacteria producing a lot of these metabolites. Propionate helps also regulate appetite, combats inflammation, helps control weight, helps control glucose levels and cholesterol. Butyrate also is energy for colon cells, helps prevent against pathogens, prevents gut dysbiosis, that imbalance of good and bad bacteria, and helps protect brain health and overall inflammation. And there is actually newer supplementation that do involve taking butyrate as well. I also think, food first approach, we want to be just eating a lot of foods that increase that butyrate production. So they also promote the growth of villi in the intestines, which are the finger-like projections that come out of the gut lining and really just help you absorb your food. So then you get better absorption of your nutrients, which is definitely can be impaired with SIBO. That's why we like to check all those levels, like your anemia levels and your B12 and your iron, because some of those, and B vitamins, because some of them can be, robbed by SIBO. But then when we have more short chain fatty acids, then we have higher growth of these villi. It helps regulate colonic motility, so good for constipation, helps control appetite by affecting how calories are absorbed and stored. And we said these other ones already. These are some major benefits of butyrate, because again, it is more in the spotlight, I would say, than the other two. Also reduces intestinal permeability, which is that leaky gut where we talked about before, where we can get impairments in the gut lining with SIBO and dysbiosis when the gut lining kind of pulls apart. So it really helps kind of tighten the gut lining, helps reduce bloating and visceral hypersensitivity, which is great. This is also when taken as a supplement too. And it could improve motility and those with slower transit time and constipation, and improves fat metabolism. So helping to reduce weight loss resistance as well when we have high levels of butyrate in the gut. So this is just showing some of those mechanism of action here, where we have higher producing butyrate bacteria, we have better gut permeability control, we have better GLP-1 and PYY, which are basically our satiating hormones. When we, fiber can turn on these satiating hormones to tell your brain that it's full, in an appropriate manner, as opposed to when you eat a lot of like processed foods, these GLP-1 and PYY are not really turned on. And you can see that you can eat more and more and more when it's processed foods. Whereas with fiber, they go up, and then your hunger hormones turn off, because that fiber is satiating, as opposed to processed foods that are not satiating to the brain. That makes sense. And this is actually what they're kind of targeting with Ozempic, is this GLP-1. They're trying to, it's like a GLP-1 antagonist. I'm sure you guys have heard of Ozempic. It's like weight loss drug. So they're trying to like go around the fact that you should eat fiber and eat all these good things. And people are trying to get, the quick fix with turning off this GLP-1 receptor. If you guys were interested, I just thought that was very interesting. So we know it also is good for our insulin sensitivity here, as you can see, and beta oxidation. So the breakdown of fat cells, same over here, this is adipose tissue, breakdown of fat cells by increasing beta oxidation. and decreasing inflammation and overall decreasing weight gain and food intake, like excessive food intake. Good for also hypothalamic, in the gut-brain axis, and this opioid receptor expression. So basically like turning off that like food is an opioid drug kind of, receptor when like you're having processed food, if that makes sense. So yeah, I feel like it looks more complicated, but again, not as complicated as you think. These are some foods that are really great for boosting butyrate and getting that short chain fatty acid up in the gut. So almonds, kiwis, oats, broccoli, apple, chickpeas. The only one I would say to avoid right now in low FODMAP is apple. For the other ones, if you do canned chickpeas, that's definitely good. That's lower FODMAP, about 10 almonds, and definitely kiwi. We know kiwi is great for motility and constipation. And it also has an enzyme actinidin that's really just helpful for that motility, regardless of its, a fiber and its butyrate producing fiber. Oats too, again, great source of soluble fiber. I'm not even going to go into that because it's kind of like the other one. And just to touch on those hormones again. So when we have higher fiber intake, they increase those satiety hormones like CCK, GLP-1, and PYY, and reduce ghrelin, just so you guys are aware. So a higher fiber meal turns off ghrelin to make you feel fuller and more satisfied. So that's why you want those balanced meals with high fiber, because we want to turn off that hunger hormone for a good 3 to 4 hours after a meal, right? Especially with SIBO, we want to make sure that you're having kind of a 3 to 4 hour window without having a meal as best as possible. But I want you guys listening to your hunger like cues. I don't want you to ignore that. So have a balanced snack if you need it, but the more balanced meal that you have, the more likely you are to have these short bursts of rest between your meal, which is good for SIBO healing. So we want to, our goal is then to turn off that hunger hormone ghrelin. Fiber slows gastric emptying up in the upper stomach, which is good for caloric intake and good for glucose levels. And we know that an increase in GLP-1, more often we're turning off, we're increasing that satiety that is associated with a lower risk of diabetes, prediabetes, and improved hemoglobin A1C, which is just your 3-month record of your blood glucose levels. For mostly, diabetics will really be assessing that. But, it's good for any of us to really be keeping track of that A1C over our lifetime. This is just showing those examples of how in the green, where it's appetite stimulating, that's when we increase that, our food intake. And in the red is satiating. So these hormones all go up when we have more fiber and more balanced meals and are satiated more easily. Soluble fiber. So let's talk about soluble versus insoluble. So soluble is obviously water soluble, hence the name. And it forms basically a gel in your GI tract, helping to slow down digestion and boost satiety. So this is also good if like you're having too loose of a stool or you're having too quick of a motility. But soluble fiber is really good for everyone. We want a mix of soluble and insoluble in everyone's diet. We know it's present in a lot of like pectins and gums and fructans and hemicellulose in a lot of different fruits and vegetables. We know it's found in oats, such as beta glucans. We know it bypasses the small intestine and feeds bacteria in our large intestine, and it produces the soluble fiber. It produces short chain fatty acids that act on GLP-1, helping to then reduce that food intake. Just like I said, how Ozempic that's what their mechanism of action is targeting. But you can just eat soluble fiber and you're going to get the better benefits because fiber has so many other benefits in the body, right? As opposed to just weight loss or just glucose control. So it's so much better to get it from the food source rather than the medication source. So again, it's good to have these higher soluble fiber foods when you have a faster transit time, when you have looser stools, when you have gastritis, heartburn, or reflux. It's very soothing for that. It improves the bulk of the stool also. And you always want to increase your water intake if you're having like a sudden increase in soluble fiber because it absorbs water. So you just want to make sure if you, suddenly started eating a ton more fiber, you really want to just be drinking more water because it kind of it absorbs more water in the GI tract. And it helps increase that mucin layer. It's good for blood sugar and creates a better glycemic response, like we said before. And these are some sources. So we have broccoli, avocados, flaxseed, sunflower seeds, lots of beans that, you know, temporarily you're not going to have too many beans right now. But also lentils, canned lentils and canned chickpeas at a half a cup are both low FODMAP. So I definitely recommend trying to get those in as good a good amount of as you can. I would say maybe 1 to 2 to 3 times a week would be a good rule of thumb, just to get some of those legumes in. Mature root veggies, so carrots, sweet potatoes, turnips, Brussels sprouts are also high soluble fiber, and same with hazelnuts, pears, figs, nectarines, apricots, and apples, which are higher FODMAP. And insoluble would basically just mean that it's providing the bulk of the stool and it's not digested by us at all. And it's, you know, it's cellulose, it's hemicellulose, it's lignin. It helps bind to toxins from that the liver is excreting into the GI tract and helps reduce your overall toxin load. So that's why also we want to be going to the bathroom every single day with this insoluble fiber being excreted. And it's considered, you know, a functional fiber. It acts as a naturally occurring in plants, but maybe isolated to fiber products, which sometimes can contribute to bloat. So you do want to be careful of some of the insoluble fibers like inulin or chicory root, because I have seen those cause a lot of issues. And it really depends on the person. It really depends on your threshold for those kind of foods. And, you know, I've seen them in drinks and added to fiber bars. And I really would just rather you get it from the real food itself, as opposed to these added, you know, fibers into products, because it's not really natural to be having like 12 grams of fiber in a small little bar, right? So that's not how nature intended us to eat fiber. And then we see a lot of discomfort with that. So just a side note. And yeah, that's typically, you know, an insoluble fiber type of product. So this is good for when you want to speed up your digestion, if you're having constipation, if you're having a sluggish transit time that's over 24 hours, if your bowel movements are incomplete, the feeling of incomplete emptying, or they're like hard and lumpy. So just to be clear though, we all do insoluble fiber, but it's nice to then really hone in on it a little bit when you're experiencing more, you know, constipated bowel movements. So there's whole grains like wheat bran, brown rice, amaranth, carrots, parsnips, potatoes, eggplant, cucumber, fruits with seeds. That should say apples, not applies. Beans, pulses, lentils, peas, nuts, and seeds, and dark leafy greens. So all of these will basically not really be fully digested and make up the bulk of our stool, which is really great for toxin excretion and inflammation in the gut and motility. Any questions so far before I go into resistant starches?
Not a question, but it amazes me. I feel like, you know, my history, how I feel like originally being diagnosed with IBS, they were like, add more fiber. So I would on a regular basis, like stress about the fiber intake. So I'd have those like bars that have the 12 grams of fiber.
Yeah.
And I would feel so bloated and horrible afterwards.
I know.
So I always associated with like anything high in fiber, I'm going to have discomfort. And like just from these 2 slides, I realized like, oh, it's because you're having a lot of insoluble fiber, not so much so there's just an interesting observation.
And the fact that they're not realizing when your gut is out of balance and they're telling you to eat all this high FODMAP, high fiber foods, it's only going to create more discomfort. So it's like, if you don't heal the imbalance, if you don't heal the small intestinal overgrowth or the large intestinal bacterial imbalance, you're never going to be able to tolerate these foods in the appropriate way, right? Like your bacteria out of whack. So it's like, that's why you're on the temporary low FODMAP, so we can make sure you're healing this imbalance so you can tolerate all these high FODMAP foods again. Yeah. So this is just kind of summing those up. So insoluble versus soluble. Insoluble binds and eliminates carcinogens, other toxic agents. So it's really good for our intestinal health. And soluble will ferment fiber by probiotic bacteria, produce short chain fatty acids that then affect our overall health, affect our DNA expression, and help maintain our overall health status. So they do have, similar features, but kind of work in different ways and have different mechanisms of action in the gut. And like we just said, so we want to caution with IBS and dysbiosis because they can be malabsorbed. With IBS, with SIBO, with microbiome out of balance, lead to an increase in symptoms with an increase in fiber. If it's all high FODMAP foods that your gut is just malabsorbing. So making these temporary lower FODMAP changes that are still high fiber is the key, and increasing fiber slowly, that's going to help you reduce your symptoms while we treat the root cause and rebalance and restore the health of the microbiome. Then you want to expand to high fiber, high FODMAP foods when the gut's more in balance and these foods are well tolerated again. Then we have resistant starches in the middle. So we had insoluble, non-fermentable, then we had soluble, fermentable, and resistant starches are insoluble, but also fermentable fibers. So we can't break them down, but they're also more fermentable than insoluble fibers, just meaning that good bacteria can eat them and create metabolites and beneficial products. So we have beans, brown rice, green bananas, lentils, oats, potatoes. All these are resistant starches that, again, we can't break down. It's really great for us to have about 4 to 5 servings of these per week to really just feed our good gut bacteria and help us create more of these short chain fatty acids. So, creating, like we said, doing some overnight oats, making some roasted potatoes, even cooked and cooled potatoes have higher resistant starch than hot potatoes, which is very kind of strange, but for some reason, cold cooked potatoes have higher resistant starch, so they create more butyrate and more short chain fatty acids. Canned lentils, great to make. I have a lentil sweet potato salad in the low FODMAP recipe folder. That's really good. Or even doing, hot, you can do it hot as a starch on the side, mixed in with some rice for dinner. You can definitely add it to other starches like quinoa, rice. Greener bananas are great for FODMAPs too, lower FODMAPs. So it doesn't have to be super green, but on the greener side is good with peanut butter, as a snack or put in a smoothie. Have it with eggs, good carbohydrate, or doing overnight oats, like we said, beans, canned chickpeas, doing a chickpea salad, in a green salad, doing chickpeas as your starch and a little bit of protein with a little bit of chicken or fish. And that will be great for your resistant starch intake. These are some examples of resistant starch content and their serving sizes in low FOD. All these are low FODMAP. I told you guys, potatoes cooked. I thought it said cooled, but cooked and cooled potatoes is higher, even a little bit higher. It's funny that potato chips are actually on here as 1 gram of resistant starch. I would say I wouldn't say, never eat potato chips, but I would say if you can, get ones that are made with avocado oil that are going to be better fats for gut health, like avocado, and what else? And olive oil. I have seen the Boulder Canyon have olive oil made potato chips, but there's also the Siete brand that has all different types of regular sea salt and vinegar, all fried in avocado oil. So that can be even a snack that is gut health, weight loss approved. In 1 serving, I would say. And then oats, then we have underripe banana, like we said, about 2.5 grams. So oats kind of have a good amount of resistant starch, the most I would say on this chart in 1/4 of a cup. So if you have a 1/2 a cup, you're getting up to then 8 grams. And always want to balance your oats with protein. So whether you're adding a little protein powder that's low FODMAP or a little collagen, a little hemp seeds, chia, and, just getting the protein up a little bit. Sometimes you can even do, I don't know if anyone's tried this, but a little bit, I think one of the other girls, not on the call, tried this, but doing a little yogurt in the oats, either like a little lactose free or dairy free yogurt, or even doing low FODMAP cottage cheese, like Nancy's probiotic cottage cheese is adding a little bit of that in your oats for extra protein. That also helps to minimize the blood sugar spike from oats. Then sourdough has a little bit too. So let me know if you have any questions on these or need help with thinking of any other ideas for foods, for, food pairings. These are just some more simple ways to increase fiber. So adding avocado or greens on sourdough or whole grain toast, adding berries and flax or chia to oats, strawberries as a snack with some nuts or nut butter. Strawberries great to have the seeds in there. Putting any meal you're having over a bed of greens to boost the fiber content if you're finding you're not getting to half that plate. And adding greens into a smoothie to really boost that fiber content. Adding zucchini to a smoothie, and if anyone's tried that, but frozen zucchini does make it kind of creamy. Aiming for half that plate vegetables at least twice daily can really just help boost that overall fiber intake. Adding some seeds to your afternoon snack. Not on low FOD. When you're not on low FODMAP, these bars like Kind, RX, and Lara are pretty good for getting a higher fiber whole food bar situation. And yeah, so it's kind of, and this is high in soluble fiber for post low FODMAP, just like this. Just a salad that I made a while ago with just shredded Brussels sprouts, slivered almonds, Dijon mustard and ACV, and some raisins. So just an example of a high fiber, high soluble fiber salad for post low FODMAP. And you want to go slow, right? You want to make sure you're increasing fiber in a way that makes you feel good. You're kind of you can even consider it like fiber tolerance training, especially with, going low FODMAP to higher FODMAP again. So we want to go in smaller increments and keep the diet diversity as high as we can, especially as you're on low FODMAP. So we maintain the diversity of microbes in the gut, which is super important for overall gut health long-term. So you also want to be drinking enough water, like I mentioned a few slides ago, just to support any increase in fiber intake, because we know fiber then will draw water into the intestines. So water is definitely important. I know some of you guys too are doing those adrenal cocktails, which is great. So that is also going hand in hand with electrolyte status, as well as supporting adrenal health and gut health. So that was a lot, but I feel like you guys, I'm sure now know a little bit more about fiber and its metabolites, why it's good to just eat fiber, because we've all heard the term, we've all heard from somebody like, just eat more fiber. And I hate that is a huge intervention from like a GI doctor who isn't really looking deeper and they're just telling you to eat fiber. But you want to do it in a strategic way where you're still feeling good and you're trying to eat more fiber instead of just spinning your wheels as to just, why am I not feeling better eating more fiber? Right? Yeah. Okay, cool. Anyone have any other questions, concerns? Definitely, if you want to, I know Brittany, you filled out your one-to-one form. Nina, if you have one, definitely would be good. I don't know if you might not have one. You might have already done it, but Michelle, what?
Wait, which form?
So any like new one-to-one check-in form, like the bi-monthly?
Oh,
Or
I think I had that like a
you just did it.
week or so ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
I did it.
And Michelle, I think you're pretty good on forms. It will probably trigger you to do the health vision form within this week, or maybe even today. So check if you want to check that out. Just reflecting on your goals and kind of writing it down just help you visualize for the future and how you want to feel. So anyone, any last minute things or comments or anything that was interesting?
Sorry, I have one question. I know we're over.
Don't be
This
sorry.
is gonna be a silly question.
Or
When you say cold, like, so for example, like one of my go-to meals sometimes is making pancakes with like eggs, eggs, unripe banana, and oats.
mm-hmm.
And then I make that like the night before, and then they kind of taste like little banana bread in the next day. But so I eat them cold, but I obviously heated them up to cook them.
Yeah.
So is it more like the cold oats? You're not even cooking it, so it doesn't matter that you cooked it, so it's already the nutrition's gone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, you're not losing any nutrition with that. The only cold thing, well, the only thing I said about cold being better was potatoes. So like when you cook
Okay.
and cool a potato, it develops more resistant starch after it's cooked. So like you're totally fine with the fiber content of the banana, oats. That's not really going to change with cooking or cooling.
Thanks. Sorry, I got
That's good though. Wait, do you want to tell everyone about that? So what do you make that tastes like banana bread?
Oh, it's like one of my favorite things. My daughter loves it too, actually. So um I do a half a cup of oats. Um, so a half a cup of oats, a whole green banana, because I'm not a big fan of unripe bananas. I usually like them when they're brown. So when I had to do this, I was like, I have to learn how to like an unripe banana. And then one egg, and then I always put hemp seed, flaxseed, and a little bit of vanilla and a little bit of cinnamon, and I just put it in like my little NutriBullet and mix it up. And
Perfect.
then I just like make a batch, and like technically you could eat it makes around like 4 or 5 little pancakes. They actually I just had this for dinner. But they look like this and
Oh,
it looks
nice.
like a pancake.
Yeah.
But I always make them and they're like my go-to sometimes, and my daughter surprisingly loves them too. So
Awesome.
that's a
They're
win.
full of fiber, they're nutritious, so that sounds great. Yeah, thanks for sharing.
But yeah, I'm more than happy to share that in the Facebook chat too, just so that
Yeah,
you
if you
guys
don't
have it.
mind, like the rest.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But perfect.
Awesome, guys. Thanks for staying on longer. But yeah, I'm really proud of all of you guys. Keep working hard. Michelle, obviously getting into it. Let me know if you have any other questions. And we'll all chat again soon. We'll meet again, like the group call in the first week of May, which I can't believe it's already going to be May. And that will be, so it's always, Michelle, the first Wednesday of the month and the third Wednesday of the month at 5. So it'll be May 3rd, and hope everyone can make that. And I will, obviously be talking on your journals. Don't be afraid to ask questions, write things in your journal. Anything helps, as other girls know too, like the more that you post in your journal, the more that we can troubleshoot and figure out what's going on and move forward in the best way. So I'm excited for you.
Thanks, Sam.
Welcome. All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Enjoy the rest of your night. Go get outside. It looks beautiful out, actually.
Thanks everybody.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Sorry. I was